Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Season 20 Terastalization discussion. Oh, I just realized I didn't... Some things I wanted to bold here, and I didn't bold them. That's super embarrassing. But while I'm clicking on this, the thing I want to talk about here is that Terastalization has been, like, a big part of Gen 9 games, and we just really need to hammer down how we want to handle it, because after each season, I've heard complaints about things that needed to be changed with the terastallization rule in general. And I just kind of wanted to go through and look at what our options are. And I think the first thing we need to talk about is what are the problems with terastallization, because that's something other that everyone can't agree on either. So the problems that I've heard are too unpredictable. Like, in a game, you don't know if someone's going to do a defensive Terra, an offensive Terra, if they're going to save that Terra for something else. And even if they do a defensive Terra, are they going to turn this Pokemon into a flying type, a fairy type, a water type? I have coverage for either, but I just need to know which one. And it promotes not even 50-50s, but like, 25, 25, 25, 25s, where there's too many options. Um, I mean, and even like in a general 50-50, like with the King Gambit, it's like, are they gonna sucker punch or kowtow cleave? And if so, are they gonna terastallize and sucker punch? Um, or are they gonna switch out? It's too many options. So, um, that's the first complaint I've heard about terastallization. Some people don't feel that that's a problem; they just feel it's a part of Pokemon. And the complaints they have is Pokemon shouldn't be able to change defensive types. Some Pokemon are just like, this is what they are. They have these good stats, but they're hurt by their defensive typing. So then when you're able to just totally change their type, like Avalugg, for example, it would be a great defensive Pokemon if it were like a water type. But if it can just change its defensive typing, then its value is different. Um, so there's that. And then there's people who have a problem with it offensively, where it's just this Pokemon suddenly is just going to gain a third stab, and with Terra Blast, they can just gain a new stab move. Uh, I think all of those things are, and then Stellar Terastallization pulls out a whole other thing into it, where it makes contrary Pokemon better, and it can even just give a little bump to some like 4 attacks offense Pokemon. There's a lot to consider there. Those are the option. Those are the problems that I've heard. I want to go over our potential options. So I would say these are our 5 options, and there's also combinations we can do. So first option, we did this in season 18 and in the Iron Sheik. If you followed it, we have free terastallization. Any Pokemon can terastallize into any type. That's what that would be. The best thing about this is that's what the gimmick is supposed to do. But we've limited gimmicks before in the past because we found them to be uncompetitive or unviable in a draft league. Next, we have the problem with it, or the benefit to it, sorry, is no pre-week prep. You don't have to think about what your matchup is going to be on Monday, on Tuesday night before like ad drops go in. If people feel that we want to shift the calendar, if that solves any issues, I don't think it really would, but we could explore that. The downside is, just like I said, unpredictable. There's a lot of things that are unpredictable about it, both offensively, defensively, the 50-50s. And I've had some discussions with people that the unpredictability can be broken up into 2 spots. It's unpredictability and planning, where if you have somebody who puts a lot of time into planning, they're sitting there and it's just like, X Pokemon can turn into like 3 different types. How am I going to deal with any of their potential Terra types? I need to build this Pokemon to deal with this one. I need to build this Pokemon to deal with this. And then when you get into battle, you still don't know if they're gonna, when they're gonna do that. And that's like so you have your planning phase and your battling phase. And I think the options that we have can address or reduce stress in one of those 2 phases, but it's hard to do it in both. So one of the options we have is Terra Team Captains. Very simple solution. We're just going to put an X next to our stuff in the document, and they can terastallize, or a C. I think that's what we did last season. You can customize it to your team matchup. So uh, you're still going to have terastallization options based on your team matchup, and it reduces the unpredictability in team building. That's what we were talking about. Like when you sit down and build, it's just like, okay, only these Pokemon can terastallize. Good, that's something I can worry about then. I don't have to worry about, this Quagsire terastallizing because he didn't make it as Terra Captain. So good, I know that. Oh, that's something else. So that's the benefit there. Cons, it weakens the gimmick considerably, because in a best case scenario, if you've done all your potential prep, half of your team can terastallize. And that means half of your team can't, which at best means the gimmick is 50% as effective. It promotes pre-week prep. Some people don't sit down and plan until Monday, and if that's the way it goes, do we want to punish them because it has that pre-week prep? I think this is a conversation I had with somebody. It's just like, do we want to, because at whatever limit we put on it, someone's going to be hurt. Is it going to be somebody who doesn't do a lot of pre-planning but is an okay battler, or is it going to be someone who's a good battler, but is, doesn't do as well battling, but they are a fantastic team planner? They're going to find different options that they like. But also when you're in the battle, it's just as unpredictable. It's like, is this Pokemon going to change into what type? It's got 18 options of what types it could change into. Another option I've seen is ban Terra Blast. If you feel like offensively Terastallization is too much of a problem, this is kind of your best option for that. Or an option, because I don't think it addresses all the issues of an offensive Terastallization. Look, there's no pre-week prep. You just don't get to terastallize. Don't get to have Terra Blast. That's it. It does reduce the offensive Terra viability, which if that's your problem with it, great. The cons is it reduces the offensive Terra viability. If you don't think that's the option, we're just punishing offensive Terras for no reason, you're not going to like this. And it also doesn't address the issues if you think defensive terastallization is a problem. Terra Team Preview. So this one has been an option. I kind of wish we would have explored it in the Iron Sheik, but we kind of forgot about it. So this, I'll show you what it looks like. This is a meta that we can play. Terra Preview Paldea draft decks. So this is what we would play in. And at Team Preview, can you hover over them and see? No, you can't. That's a shame. Yeah, so you can see like Morpeko can only be electric type. This camera up can be water type. And that way, when you get into a battle, you can make a play and be like, okay, I have my Victory Bell in the sun against this Berserker. If I want to terastallize and go for Weather Ball, this Berserker, if this was Dragon type instead? You'd know, like, okay, he has the option to Terra Dragon, so I can make a prediction based on that. But knowing that he's Terra Steel, okay, I can just really safely go for Terra Fire Weather Ball and hit this thing really hard, or it forces a switch. So in battle, it reduces the unpredictability because now you have there's less unknowns during battle. Planning wise, you're still going to have all the unpredictability because you still have to plan like it's open Terra, and then you have less options when it comes to Team Preview. Good thing about this is no pre-week prep. You just plan like normal, and then your play is going to be different. The downside is if you want to have like an element of surprise, like, oh my god, he pulled out this, this very niche Terra. I didn't expect that. If I think that that could be something that people miss. It says it's supposed to be maybe. Oh god, I'm sorry. I'm fumbling all over the place. This is humiliating. Maybe may that's what it's supposed to be. May give an advantage to more experienced players. So Logan's been in big opposition to this idea. He feels that some players aren't going to, more experienced players are going to get more out of this information than inexperienced players. So somebody with less experience might look at this and be like, I don't really know what to do with this information, how I'm going to act on it. So they're not going to benefit from it. But an experienced player can look at this and know those matchups like what I was talking about. Like, I don't remember why I had Terra Dragon on Bennett here. It's probably resist something important, but who's to say? And I get that. It's just if you feel there needs to be a solution, this could be like, I don't know. I personally like this, and I totally understand if some people think, oh, it's going to take away my element of surprise, and I'm going to get taken advantage of because of this. I get that. The other option is limited terastalization. So I've been recently directed to another draft league, the UNPL. They have some different tiering rules. First of all, they have like, so here, let me show you a team here. So obviously their points are their point system's different. Yeah, so there's ranges from 20 points down to, it looks like maybe 1 even. I don't see any 1s, but I don't see anything. Yeah, there's a 1, like a Grumpig. That's crazy. So their tiering system's a little bit different. Maybe something we can explore in the future, but I'm not gonna bother with that right now. So their terastalization is you have 18 points to spend on Terra Captains. So they have some version of Terra Captains, and different tiered Pokemon cost more to do that. They have a cap on what cost of Pokemon can be Terra Captains. That's something we could explore, but oh goodness, I don't even have to send it. That's a problem. Hang on. There we go. I don't know if you were able to see what we had before. Yeah, you were able to see before. So you can pick the Terra Captains that 12 points or below, cannot exceed 18-point limit. That I don't want to do, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But so 3 Pokemon can have Terras, each captain having 3 Terra types, 1 stab and 2 of your choice. So for example, last season, we'll pull up the South here. Cinderace could have been fire and then terastalize fighting and poison. Urshifu could have been fighting or water, and then its other Terra could be, fighting or water or dark or ice or whatever. So obviously that gives a little bit more of a benefit to dual type Pokemon. But I don't think because you're gonna want to have one of your potential Terra options be your stab, but then also maybe a bit of a disadvantage. I think it comes out in the wash because Dragapult you're gonna want Dragon or Ghost and then or Fairy. So you probably have less options as a dual type because you want your other type. Anyways, that's an option, but I think that does bring it back to requires pre-week prep. Like you need to sit down and be like, okay, what are my Terra options for that week? What do I want as choices? But I think it's a good limit. It's a good balance of limits and options. You're going to have as many options as you're willing to put in the work to get. If you want to sit down the week beforehand and figure out what your optimal matchup is, you're going to have just as many you're going to have as many options as you want, but when it comes to planning, people are going to know what your options are, and it's going to be the scope's going to be narrower. So I think that's good. They obviously combined it with Terra Captains. Some leagues I've seen have do a Terra Blast band and then Terra Captain. So we can do combinations of these if you like them. I really want people to think about this and come up with what their potential solutions are, and then we'll vote on it. If nobody gets behind the idea of Terra Captains again, or nobody likes the idea of Terra Blast, we won't have to vote on those. But if somebody likes the combination of Terra Captains and limited terastalization, that's fine. Now, one thing I don't have on here, because I have heard no support for it, so if you really are in support for it, let me know, is no terastalization, but just please discuss this as much as possible. I'd like to have a solution to this to vote on by Monday, and then we can start tiering, because I'd like to be able to be ready to draft near the end of the month. So please give me your feedback as much as possible. I'd really love to hear it. Thank you. Goodbye.